Hello, friends. The Home Office admits it does not know how many asylum seekers have disappeared. Official records show that the government holds no usable data for nearly one-third of arrivals. The volume of illegal migrants has grown so large that hotel capacity is now exhausted. More than 14,000 undocumented individuals are believed to be unaccounted for on Britain's streets. An estimated £2.1 billion has already been spent housing migrants in hotels, while recorded crime has reportedly risen by 23%. Within just 3 hours of leaked figures revealing the scale of missing migrants, entire districts descended into chaos. Police lines buckled. Demonstrators refused negotiation. Chance branded Starr as a betrayer of Britain. At 6:10 p.m., repeated waves of protesters demanded the repeal of the Human Rights Act. Legislation critics argue effectively blocks the deportation of illegal migrants. Under this legal protection, claimants have told courts they suddenly converted to Christianity or discovered a new sexual identity, arguing deportation would place their lives at risk. Verification is virtually impossible, and critics say the system is being cynically exploited. Karma responded firmly. Britain's laws will not be repealed. He called for tolerance across all communities. That single statement marked the beginning of the end of his political standing. By 6:24 p.m., a Stop the Boats faction set fire to a police van. Reinforcements were rushed in, but the situation spiraled out of control. At 6:41, fireworks were launched directly at police ranks, lighting the sky red. Shrapnel smashed into riot shields. Chanting ceased. Only the noise of conflict remained. The core issue is that these missing migrants are effectively invisible to the state. Thousands of suspected knife carriers, sexual offenders, and drug traffickers exist without names, records, or biometric traces. Opposition leader Nigel Farage responded sharply, stating that 14,000 is merely the number authorities are willing to admit. Security analysts warn the true figure could be 3 or 4 times higher, a dispersed force of potential offenders nationwide. Within 3 hours, reports surfaced of 14 hotel fires. Investigations are ongoing. 62 arrests were made. 142 people were hospitalized. Authorities announced that karma would address the nation by dawn. From London to Belfast, Britain remained awake. Fireworks vanished from shelves in 47 stores within 30 minutes. A major retailer in Northern Ireland confirmed emergency instructions to remove stock. At 10:23 p.m., a frantic police transmission emerged from South Belfast. "We were not trained for attackers using rockets. We are withdrawing from Sector B." Brussels officials condemned extremist violence across the UK. Starmer dismissed the rioters as a marginal group with no public backing. At the same time, mainstream outlets framed the unrest as far-right agitation and urged citizens to stay indoors. Protesters across Stamford Street chanted for immediate withdrawal from the European Court of Human Rights. Inside the Home Office, advisors quietly warned that if Starmer continued pushing a tolerance-first strategy, his premiership could collapse within days. Meanwhile, 3 new boats carrying illegal migrants breached the Channel coast. Within 8 minutes, the occupants dispersed into seaside towns, disappearing entirely. Starr's national address was delayed by another 3 hours. Then came the most alarming development. An online red threat level was declared for women and children. In some schools, teachers began mapping safe walking routes to prevent students from encountering grooming gangs. A TikTok video featuring activist Tommy Robinson reached 6.2 million views in 1 hour. He claimed police units were arresting protesters while machete attacks continued nationwide, 5 reported in just 60 minutes. At 7:40 p.m., live broadcasts abruptly cut out, citing technical failures, precisely as police vehicles were overturned under fireworks and flying glass. Farage's warning that unseen threats roam Britain after dark now appeared prophetic, as undocumented individuals merged into grooming rings and narcotics networks without a single fingerprint on record. Critics argue this outcome stems directly from leadership that prioritizes the Human Rights Act above citizen safety, leaving the public exposed to a population the state admits it cannot locate. On social media, policy analysts proposed reforms, closing asylum loopholes tied to sexuality or gender claims, and eliminating mental health defenses used to block removals. As Keir Starmer exited Parliament, a journalist from a right-wing outlet attempted to confront him with the proposal. The Prime Minister ignored it, opting instead to address a softer question about Europe's climate agenda. Tonight, Britain faces more than an immigration challenge. It faces a shadow insurgency. Karma tied his political future to the Human Rights Act. That same law is now accused of being weaponized against the public. Courts halt deportations based on unverifiable claims of conversion or identity change, encouraging widespread fraud. The thousands who vanished did so because the system releases rather than detains. Reported machete attacks are cited by critics as the consequence of deportation policies Starmer refuses to amend. Britain's sovereignty, they argue, is being surrendered to international courts. Border officers have warned of this for years. The hotel accommodation system is collapsing. Street-level data shows the same pattern repeatedly. Missing documents, legal obstruction, disappearance into the informal economy, and criminal expansion beyond police reach. A Facebook interview viewed 8 million times featured a masked African migrant stating that France requires language learning and employment, while England offers hotels and meals with no integration demands. He described Britain as welcoming, a key reason thousands attempt channel crossings. Whitehall officials, critics insist, know the true figures. They understand that 14,000 is a conservative estimate. Yet every attempt to close legal loopholes is blocked under the banner of human rights. Britain once enforced borders. Now opponents say it is governed by loopholes, fearful of courts, tribunals, and accusations of intolerance. The disappearance of 14,000 unvetted men, they argue, was not an error, but a calculated concession to Strasbourg. No names, no historias, no records. The red alert for women and children is viewed as an admission of lost control. Starmer's loyalty to foreign rulings, critics claim, outweighs concern for British streets. Meanwhile, pensioners face aggressive enforcement for minor tax errors, while undocumented entrants vanish freely. This, opponents say, is two-tier justice. Courts are overwhelmed by dubious claims. Deportations stall. Streets burn. Whitehall fears headlines more than disorder. As police lines collapse and vans burn, the message becomes unavoidable. Governance has failed. This is not simple mismanagement. It is the cost of prioritizing international approval over national order. Analysts now warn the missing figure may be triple the published number, creating a shadow population consuming resources, housing, and healthcare without contributing to the tax base. Identification destruction is treated as a tactic, not crime. Footage from northern towns shows groups of undocumented men congregating where police patrols have ceased. Legal firms are accused of coaching arrivals on asylum scripts. Taxpayers fund the very legal aid blocking removals. Security agencies cannot vet individuals who officially do not exist. Organized crime exploits this anonymity. County lines networks recruit from this invisible workforce. Parents form private patrols. Communities feel erased. Riots reflect despair, not extremism, critics argue. Starmer's refusal to challenge the EC char is framed not as morality, but as cowardice. A nation unable to define who is inside it ceases to function. Britain's crisis is not only migration, it is sovereignty itself.